I have been following Sanjay Leela Bhansali since his first film. How is it working with him?
It's very addictive because he's somebody who's always pushing you so hard that when you're shooting, you it hurts. But then you realize that you keep getting better and better because of his pushing. He never puts an idea in your head because he's always very interested in what's in my mind. Sanjay's films, the prep is a very long prep. There is a lot of research along with the production designers, outdoor set, which we cover from the top and create like an indoor set. All the lighting that you're seeing is artificial, including the daylight stuff.
Have you seen Robert Zemeckis' What Lies Beneath?
Of course, yeah, yeah. It's very interesting you talk about that film because that's one film I had when I was just starting out. I had the DVD and I wrote down lighting notes of every scene. That there was a bathroom scene where there was a mixed lighting, and like I was like really tripping on that film. How beautifully it was lit. I'm not very comfortable to talk in front of the camera. I'm not used to it. But you made it very easy. I realized that I can talk if I get someone like you.
How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. I'm in the middle of grading my next movie.
What are you grading, if you're willing to share?
Yeah, it's a feature. It's a feature which will release next month. Uh, it's a very different kind of a movie from Heeramandi. It's got a lot of sports in it, and it's about story of a boy from a very small town, small village in India, and how he eventually goes to the Olympic and actually goes to Para Olympic because he wants to go to Olympic,
Right.
and then he has and he is a soldier and he gets injured in the war, and it's a beautiful story. It's very different from Hiramandi.
Oh, that sounds exciting. Who's starring in it?
Karthik Aryan, he's a upcoming big star in India.
I'm familiar with the Indian film scene very
Oh, you
much.
are
I'm just
Karthik
trying.
Aryan,
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
in fact, today the poster got released, and on the 18th the trailer will come out. It's called Chandu Champion.
Oh, right. I know Karthik Aryan. He's the one. I just Googled him. The very famous monologue about uh having a relationship with women and marriage and all that. He did this
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah, yeah,
amazing
yeah, 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 yeah.
5 minute
So
monologue.
you can see the posters. If you type Chandu Champion, the posters just come out today.
Oh,
And
okay. Me too.
yeah, on 18th the trailer will be out.
Chandu champion. Okay. Well, looks great. No, that's great that you're working on the grading of the film, and let's just jump into Heeramandi. Just to kind of give you a little bit of context, I have been following Sanjay Leela Bhansali since his first film Khamosh came out with Manisha Koirala, who's in this film, right? I mean, he has made some amazing films. For me, some of the best films he's done are pre-epic era, like Khamosh, Black,
Yeah.
and Khamosh for English audience means silence, but Black, and then Devdas, obviously. So I did see a lot of his stuff here and there in between, like the ones that he did. But it wasn't something that connected to me as much as those three films did.
Okay.
Heeramandi, I was kind of iffy about it, but I know the grand scale, and from the as a filmmaker myself, I just love the visuals. But the series was really, really good. I mean, I'm on episode 6, and I really enjoy the characters. I really enjoy the language, the skill Urdu in there, and
Yeah. This
the
is my
dialogue.
fifth project with him. So I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
Guzarish, I did Bajirao, Padmavat, Gangubai Kathiawadi, and this is my fifth project.
Guzarish was him.
Yeah,
Oh, right, right, right. Yes, yes, yes. The one with the magician, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Ritik
I
Roshan played
forgot.
that one. Yeah.
Yes,
That's my
yes. I
first with
forgot him.
Sanjay.
How is it working with him?
It's very addictive because he's somebody who's always pushing you so hard that when you're shooting, you it hurts. But then you realize that you keep getting better and better because of his pushing, and you kind of go beyond your capacity, and that's very addictive. So whenever I don't work with him, I really miss him.
That's good to hear. I mean, it's
Yeah,
sometimes it's
yeah,
it's a good thing, like people push you, right? Because at the time you may be thinking, not you as in you, but anybody may be thinking, okay, what's the point of this? But when you've done with the day or the next day
Yeah,
and
no, no,
after the
no. I
shoot.
mean, like he
It's
would, he's a person who can really, he's searching for excellence in everything and is searching for excellence in others as well. So, he's that push is actually, it's a very rare thing because he really, uh, motivates you to dig deeper into yourself and see what else you can. So I've learned a lot from him, like, to always reject the first idea, not to get comfortable, to kind of always see that, okay, is there another way of doing it, even if you're ready? And he, as a producer director, is very willing to take that. Suppose I'll tell you, there'll be maybe we have done the lighting, we are about to go for the shot, and the actor has performed the rehearsal, and I feel that, oh, my visual approach is not really going with the way the performance is happening, and I would go and tell him
Mhm.
that, Sanjay, this is not working for me in terms of lighting. I would want to relight this scene. uh, he would actually allow me to do that. That's
Wow,
very
and
that's very well. I
and
mean, he'll
this is
fight with
rare.
me.
Yeah, of
He'll fight
course,
with
of
me.
course.
We'll fight. He said, like, you're going to ruin me and all that. But at the same time, he's very democratic. I mean, if there's it would always be heard if one hasn't, and that kind of a creative freedom is very rare to find. The kind of that's what I'm saying. It's so addictive that as far as the filmmaking is concerned, the honesty and the passion is there's absolutely no compromise on that, and that's very rare.
Well, that's one of the things that really great directors, whether they're in Hollywood or in India or any other part of the world, they bring on the people that they think are, you know, at their peak or even better than them, and then they will question them, and there's nothing personal. So the goal is to produce the best possible result, and
Hmm,
whoever
hmm.
comes up with that, there's a
Right,
collaborative
right.
effort. It is, and you mentioned about lighting. How involved is Sanjay? You kind of touched upon it, but if you can go into a little bit more depth in the actual lighting a shot, or does he say, you do it and then you have a conversation, or he suggests something?
I mean, no, he first of all, even when he's briefing, he never puts an idea in your head because he's always very interested in what's in my mind.
Yeah.
So he'll always ask, how I'm seeing it and how I'm going it, and if he thinks I'm not going in the right way, he has his way of kind of getting what he wants. Uh, he he never interferes with the lighting. I mean, he'll never say that, can you make that brighter, or can you make that, can you do this over there? There wouldn't be that. But his reactions are more abstract, and it's more about the emotion. And from the reactions that he gives, I know if it's working or not. You know. Uh,
Can you
I mean, in
can
fact,
you
he
give
will
me
not even say that if the length is not correct. He'll not even say that, okay, why don't you go put a 35 instead of a 25? He'll just say that, maybe I want to go a little closer, or, I want to see a little more background, stuff like that.
right? And that's one of the things I love about his films. Obviously it's a collaborative effort, cinematography, his direction, his vision is that I personally, for me, even as a director myself, I have learned so much from, great directors like Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, even Sanjay Leela Bhansali with Vinod Chopra, like he's my, up there. Is the establishing a wide shot that gives you the feel of the character, the atmosphere he or she is in. That is so pivotal right now in today's day and age, because even in India or Hollywood, the easiest thing is to cut fast because you're trying to hide some performances or trying to hide effects and stuff. And wide is the toughest thing to do, especially in choreography, like when you're doing like a dance sequence, like the way it is in
Mhm.
Heeramandi, to have everybody in synergy, and not to cut just because somebody is going off. I mean, that's remarkable.
Yeah, and what I find fascinating is that there's so much that his environment is also uh, contributing to the story, not just the actors or the dialogues. There's so much storytelling he's doing with the visual, with the frame, that the walls are telling a story, the pillars are telling a story. The way the draperies is, that's telling a story. So.
Yeah, and I noticed that in one of the shots. I mean, to have a painting of characters in the if you want to call them palace or homes of Farida Jan's character or her
Mhm.
mom's character, and it just comes up for like a few seconds, but it just so tells such a big story about that person. To have that painted, that it's not somebody, not a lot of directors would do that, or not a lot of producers would put money into, okay,
Absolutely, absolutely,
do we really need that?
absolutely.
How much did you know about Hiramandi itself before divulging into the
No,
film?
I personally I didn't know. The subject has been with Sanjay for a very long time, and he's mentioned it in our last so many years of collaboration. I always knew that he wanted to do it at some point of time. Personally, I didn't know much about Heeramandi. I came to know it through the script, and and it was
And
our
did
own
you,
Heeramandi. Sorry,
right? So no, please go ahead. I interrupted you. My
no,
bad.
no, no. I'm saying, and we were creating our own Heeramandi. I mean, I mean, um, yeah.
How much research do you do, whether it's Heeramandi or other projects that you
I
work with
mean,
Sanjay or any other project?
there is a lot of research along with the production designers. Like when we were doing Gangubai, there was a lot more research in terms of, because that's Bombay. Um, it was easier to research. Here we did. I mean, there was a lot of research done, um, trying to be as accurate as possible.
Right. No, I was just wondering in terms of you as a cinematographer, right? Like obviously production design will go and try to research about, look at the photos or any kind of archival stuff or talk to people. From a cinematography standpoint, like did you to tell the story visually, right? Did you
Hmm.
read anything about Hiramandi itself? Like what it was at the time and
Yeah,
what
yeah,
kind of
yeah. No, actually, in terms of what were the light fittings, and what were the kind of electric bulbs that were used, what were the kind of what kind of chandeliers. There are a lot of research we did on the lighting, on the kind of fixtures that we had, that they had over there. And yeah, that's of course, when you're doing a period film, you have to do that.
right. So when you're it's a filmmaking is a collaborative effort. How obviously you're working with Sanjay, but working with, excuse me, makeup artists, probably not that much, maybe a little bit, but especially production designer or set designers and art direction. What kind of collaboration do you guys, if you
Oh,
can run, just tell me a
there's a
story.
lot of collaboration, because with Sanjay's films, the prep is a very long prep. While the sets are being built, we almost every day throughout the time we are there while the sets are being built. So you're customizing things as per your lighting requirement. If you want a window there, or if you want a fixture there, and that really is that's a lot. And Sanjay really encourages me to be part of the costume selection, not
Mm,
only in terms of the color and the color palette, but also in terms of texture and what kind of material would react to what kind of light. There's a lot of importance given to that, and the expectation is that you'd be completely available to to participate in all that. And without that, I don't think it's possible to do this kind of a costume drama with which Hirawandi is. I mean, it's because a lot of time has been spent while the sets are being in fact, I would feel that uh, uh, my work is as much on shoot, as much as when the sets are being built, or when costumes are being built. And that's Sanjay Bansali's filmmaking. I mean, it's very collaborative right from the beginning. And
right.
yeah, so you have a
I,
lot of participation, I would say. And that's what I'm saying, that's very addictive. I mean, once you get used to this kind of filmmaking, where you are uh, it's looking a certain way, because you're involved in everything, and you have a say, and what kind of lighting you're going to do accordingly, what kind of costumes you want, and that'll all be considered, taken into account,
yeah.
and it'll be a very collaborative decision.
And Sudeep, did you
What the,
shoot?
what I find very sorry to interrupt you, but I find
That's
very
okay.
fascinating is that what Sanjay would always make you feel that you're doing your thing and everything you're deciding, but at the same time, I don't know how he manages to get his vision so, because that what his vision is. There's a very magical way that he transmits that inside you. So you feel you're doing everything, but it's a very strange guidance that's always happening. It'll never be anything that he's not wanting. I
It's
find
a
that
it's
that's absolutely magical.
it's a sign of a great leader. That's what great leaders
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
They make
absolutely.
they
And
implant
leading
this
by the
idea in
example.
your head. Yeah, yeah,
I
of
mean, when
course.
he's pushing me, he's pushing himself much harder. I can see that.
Yeah.
So
Which,
somebody who has the right to, somebody who's pushing himself that hard has a right to push everybody else because everyone's pursuing that excellence.
well, they say that term in cricket, right? Leading from the front. So you
Absolutely,
have to
absolutely.
you have to do that. Otherwise, why would anybody follow you? Did you shoot all the episodes, or please
No,
correct me if
no,
I'm wrong? Okay.
no. There are two other DOPs principally who also shot along with me. But what we did was uh, for the almost entirely of the for the first two episodes. Although there are even in the first two episodes there are one or two scenes which are shot by others. But we started shooting. Me and Sanjay started shooting. We shot a sizable chunk. I think first 60-70 days we shot where we set the look, we set the palette, and all the set was entirely lit up. So the others kind of had to follow the palette, and there was a lot of interaction between us, between the other DPs and me, the other two guys, and they're very close to me. While I was shooting, they were continuously on set, observing me what I'm doing and how the approach is going. And even when they were shooting, probably I'm in the at the same time I'm on the studio, I'm shooting something else, and I would go over, look at stuff, and there'll be a lot of uh, uh, interaction between us. So just to make sure that everything is coherent and you know as much as
Right.
coherent as it's possible. Though I really wish I'd shot everything myself because that's. But I mean, it was not possible. It was impossible to because there's
Yeah.
so much
Yeah,
work
yeah,
that.
no. I wanted to clarify that because when I speak to, directors or DPs on shows for Netflix or Apple TV, like, in Hollywood, majority of the time, like, there would be a director for like one or two episodes, and more or less the team will be the same, and the next two episodes will be a different director with the same team. So, but having one director and then, kind of mingling it all together a little bit here and there, that's a lot of extra work because even though the consistency has to be there, but the vision to adapt to it is, and I'm glad that
Mhm.
you shared that other DPs were there, because it's not like, okay, I'll just show up and we'll just start again, like, we'll
No, no,
start
no,
from where
no. I
you
mean,
drop.
like,
You
no.
have to
But
be
we
heavily
had they
involved.
had ample preparation. I mean, like, I think first 70 days only I shot, and while they would observe. So I think it was once they started shooting, they already knew what the style was, what the palette was, and then they would be whatever they were shooting. I was aware of what they were shooting, and one could guide them accordingly. And so that was not a
Did
problem.
did you grade the series, or was it a
Yes,
collaborative
I
effort?
did. No, that I did myself because that's again important to maintain the consistency.
I just wanted to say that it's really beautifully graded.
Yes,
Really
thank you very
beautifully
much. Thank
graded.
you. My
Um, eh,
colorist Ashirwad Hadkar and I, we've been collaborating for the longest time. I don't work with anybody else, and I have a tremendous understanding with him. And he's a wonderful artist, really, really
do you guys
wonderful artist.
do you guys use DaVinci Resolve or
Baselight,
for grading? Sorry?
Baselight. We grade on
Baselight.
Baselight. Yeah,
I haven't heard of that software before. What is it called? Baselike?
Baselight.
Okay. I gotta look that up because I okay. I didn't know about that. I mean, I've obviously worked
If
with
you want,
DaVinci.
I'll pass on more details. I'll just speak to Ashirwad. He's right next door. Uh, I
Yeah,
can
I would
I
love
can
to
see.
know. I would love to know. I would
Yeah,
love to
I'll
know.
I'll
That
pass on that
that'd be
information.
that'd be really cool. How was the very first reaction from the audiences? Did you guys do a screening of some sort, or even for an episode or two?
We did. Netflix did a 2 episode premiere show. Um but you know how premiere shows are. Everyone says nice things to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's
And
why I
but
said
yeah, but
set
I think it
screening.
was quite overwhelming for people. The reaction we got was they were pretty overwhelmed with what they saw.
What was the most challenging scene to film, whether it was from lighting standpoint or um performance or like over and over takes? Because Sanjay
From
is
lighting
known for
standpoint,
that.
see, the entire series was shot in artificial light. It's
Mm,
an outdoor set which we cover from the top and create like an indoor set. So all the lighting that you're seeing is artificial, including the daylight stuff. So lighting is always very challenging in a set like that because you're creating. Suppose you're creating sunlight. Maybe you're seeing some 824Ks in the being used. You have to make sure that all the lights are placed in a way that the rays look parallel to each other, because even nights become very challenging because the height of the ceiling is about 60 feet. So you can't put a moon box. So essentially, you're just bouncing lights off the white ceiling and creating the night ambience. So you know, a consistent uniform moonlight, that's a big. It's a little challenging to do that. Plus, your lighting levels are very gentle because you're interacting with a lot of real flames, fire.
mm,
So yeah, there's one particular scene where in episode 2 where the girls they go in with the little candle in their hand. They go in and this they pay tribute to Sonakshi's birthday sequence.
mm,
So that's like
right.
real flames. So and you can't really create to do. You have to shoot with real candles. So your exposure levels are very low. Focus is very complicated. And yeah,
Of all the works that you have done so far in your career, not just with Sanjay Leela Bhansali, what holds a special place and why? I know it's comparing like your children to each other,
yeah,
but
yeah.
at the
But
same time,
sometimes your affection goes towards the weak one, the one which hasn't got much love,
which is
and which is uh, say for instance, I did Bajirao, and Bajirao I thought it was very flawed according to me in my work.
mm,
Just I'm not talking about anything else, just in terms of lighting. And then I thought the next one in Padmavat, I'll correct all of that, and I really worked hard on making everything much more technically correct. And I'm purely talking about lighting point of view. Somehow, um, I feel Bajirao as a film got more love, but I feel my work is better in Padmavat. So that way it's. Then there are some films. There's one film that I did. The film didn't turn out to be the way what was originally scripted. Some films just kind of meander while it's being made,
yeah, yeah,
and Thakre was one such film which had great promise, and I had a lot of enthusiasm and excitement while I was doing that. And I think parts of Thakre has some of my finest work. Um,
right.
but just because the film didn't work and no one saw it, it's just lost. And they become very precious to you because I put in some really nice, a lot of hard work, and I think it's one of my more interesting works.
Right.
Uh,
And I think that's true for almost every artist in any department, is that the films that you feel that you are close to, they don't get wide audience. And when the ones that you think, oh well, it was okay, I'm not too pleased with it, they get wide audience. So
true,
it's just
true,
amazing
true.
how that works.
But I mean
Just
but for me also, there was a film like Chak De India,
yeah.
which at that point of time I had taken a certain visual approach which was unconventional. While the film was being made and being edited and all that from the studio, I was hearing a lot of comments that, what does it look like? It's like it's a strange looking film. You want to do this. I held on to my guts, and my director and my producer really supported me. And that in and I'm happy that I stuck to what I thought was right, and I saw it till the end. And that film's cinematography got a lot of. It did my career a lot of good. It got a lot of appreciation and a lot of awards. And I was that's very special because that's something I genuinely believed and I did. And the fact that it was very reassuring and it gave me a lot of confidence that that I was right.
Of course. Just to kind of wrap things up in the next few minutes, Sudeep, is what is one type of story? When I say story, I don't mean, I shouldn't say story. What is one type of genre or visuals that you would, or period piece, or, whether it's futuristic or past or present or genre that you would want to work on that you have not yet?
I have not done a horror. I think that's one, because the visuals can it can really, there's a lot of opportunity there, and that's something I have not
Mm,
got. So that's something. And I think, of I've done period, but I've not done something that's set in the future. And it'll be great to visualize something like that. And I love to do something that's set in future. That's it's a lot of it called for a lot of imagination.
yeah. And I think with horror, I mean, I wouldn't call this movie horror, but it's a thriller. Have you seen Robert Zemeckis' What Lies Beneath?
Of course, yeah, yeah. Oof,
Yeah,
it's,
by Don Burgess, who shot it.
yeah, yeah. It's
I spoke to him
Yeah,
about the
in
whole.
fact, it's very interesting you talk about that film, because that's some one film I had, uh, when I was just starting out. I think it was 2000 or 2001 or something.
It came out in 2000, summer
Yeah,
2000.
so I remember I had the DVD and I wrote down lighting notes of every scene. That there was a bathroom scene where there was a mixed lighting, and like I was like really tripping on that film, how beautifully it was lit. And a few days back, I was showing it to my son that this is how I used to study lighting of other DOPs. You had you used to play the DVD and you used to pause and then see what has been done and then try to see, okay, oh, he did jump continuity, but he still got away with that. That was smart. And like, yeah, so it's very interesting you spoke about that film.
Yeah, because it is, in my view, I mean, there's some great scary or thriller movies. That is, especially the last act, like the whole washroom sequence. I
Yes, yes,
mean,
the washroom.
I spoke to Don Burgess, who's the DP on that film, about that, and it's one of the most amazing sequences I have ever seen
Absolutely, absolutely.
without music, with just the water running, and you're just feeling the tension building up non-stop, and it's done so well. And I really hope, when I think of it, when you said something like horror or a thriller, it would be really cool to see a director like Sanjay Leela Bhansali or with Vinod Chopra, to work with yourself, or in India, to create those kind of things, because I think in and I do think Indian cinema is changing and has changed quite a bit, but the sometimes the element of music just for the sake of using it doesn't work. You have to have a roaring
Yeah,
silence.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Sudeep, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for the chat.
Thank you.
I would love
I'm not
to.
very comfortable to talk in front of the camera. I'm not used to it, but you made it very easy. I mean, I'm somebody who's, I realize that I can talk if I get someone like you.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I would love continue chatting to you. Maybe we can talk about some past stuff, and maybe when your next film comes out next
Whenever,
month,
yeah,
is
yeah.
it?
The next release is, yeah, in on 14th of June. What I'll do is I'll mail you the link to the trailer, so you can take a look and
Yeah.
we can keep in touch.
I would love to check that out, and I'll email you personally myself, and we can stay in touch.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Sudeep. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.